Good afternoon. You know, we got to talk about this because why wouldn't we, right? The Arizona Cardinals, after failing to trade DeAndre Hopkins about an hour or so ago, cut him from their roster. Now, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions and the probability and possibility that they pick him up in free agency. But before we do that, I am aware that he was on the I Am Athlete podcast where he talked about the 5 quarterbacks he would want to play with, and the Detroit Lions were not on there. We talked about this. We've been talking about DeAndre Hopkins for a while, and under the guise of trading for him, it was a hard negative. Now, do you still feel the same way now that he is a free agent? There is no cost associated with him as far as capital. Zero draft capital, okay? I was going to say trade and draft at the same time. Zero draft capital involved. However, does that mean that he's more likely to become a Detroit Lion? Absolutely. But will he become a Detroit Lion? I'll give you my thoughts at the end of this video. But let's take a look at Adam Schefter, man. Coming from Adam Schefter less than an hour ago. Says DeAndre Hopkins now becomes a free agent instead of being traded and can sign anywhere he wants. That is the key. Another tweet from Adam Schefter says that DeAndre Hopkins, they wanted to get rid of him so bad, not this part, but the latter part. They are going, $24 million is going to count against the cap in 2023. But he will be off their books in 2024. Now, we have to talk about this. The Detroit Lions, we got something going. We got something brewing where we don't need DeAndre Hopkins. But the question is not whether we need him, it's whether we want him or not. Now, just hear me out, and I'll give you my thoughts at the end of this video. Right now, we usually carry 6 wide receivers, with the 6th wide receiver typically being Tom Kennedy. So right now, we have St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds. We then would have Jameson Williams when he comes back. Then we would have, I feel like I'm missing one, St. Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., then Khalif Raymond, right? Those are our 5 without DeAndre Hopkins. It would be St. Brown, Williams when he comes back, Khalif Raymond, Marvin Jones Jr., and Josh Reynolds. There we go. DeAndre Hopkins will be the 6th wide receiver, all right? So a full complement of wide receivers would be Jameson Williams, DeAndre Hopkins, St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones Jr., and then we would have probably Khalif Raymond, right? Somebody would have to get cut. Somebody who would make this team would have to get cut if we were to acquire DeAndre Hopkins, okay? Now, let's look at his salary. We don't really need to look at his salary because that's irrelevant, but we could maybe look at it to kind of predict what he would be getting at his new team, all right? And according to Spot Track, he was going to get $17 million? I want to say he had a option bonus of $4.5 million, and $11 million was his signing bonus. I thought I saw somewhere he was getting paid $19 million, somewhere around there. In DeAndre Hopkins' career, he is going on his 10th season, 2013, somewhere around there. And in his time in Arizona, first of all, the Arizona Cardinals absolutely fleeced the Houston Texans 3 years ago. And since then, he played in 16 games in his first year. That was the game before the year before the 17-game season. Had 1,407 yards. I want to say his suspension was one of these 2 years. Played 10 games in 2021 and 717. That's funny. That number has significant meaning to me. He had 717 yards in 2022. Played 9 games. I can't remember when his performance enhancing suspension was. So over the past 2 years, after coming off of this dude had 2017, 2018, 2019, and his first year with the Arizona Cardinals, that was that miracle catch in the end zone to beat the Buffalo Bills. all over 1,000 yards. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago, he had 1407. But the past 2 years has been a decline. Now, he's 31 years old. I want to say he was born, so he turns 31 in about 10 days. DeAndre Hopkins will be 31 in 10 days. So is this something that I do? Of course. I got to kick the tires. I have to see what's up. I have to at least take a shot because DeAndre Hopkins would probably we probably would have the best wide receiver room in the NFL. I think we got it pretty close to right now. Now, I'm looking at Josina Anderson. She says, though there are teams that weren't inclined to take on DeAndre Hopkins' full 2023 salary of $19.5 million, there it is, I've since heard from some willing to at least revisit Hopkins' availability and cost given his release. No duh. Of course. Because now that $19.45 million is not included with him. So would I do it? I would. Okay. I would at least attempt to, maybe court DeAndre Hopkins. But it's some things we got to worry about as well. His inclination to practice. First of all, does he want to be here? It starts there. Does he want to be here? Him taking practices off. How much money would he want? But there's no denying that he would be an asset for our team. And the dude still can ball. He hasn't played a full season in 2 years. So if you give him a full season, he's probably going to break. Well, at the Lions, he wouldn't break over 1,000 yards. We got too many weapons that could go around. But there's no denying that DeAndre Hopkins, you got to at least look into it. All right. Would I? Yes. Are they? I'm not sure. Brad Holmes is a wild card. You don't know what this guy's going to do. I don't think they're going to do it simply because I just don't know. Like, there's no connection with our team and DeAndre. At least with Josh Reynolds, we kind of knew about him. He had the chemistry with Jared Goff. DeAndre Hopkins could come into the system and disrupt everything. Like, he really could. So, are they? I'm going to lean toward no. Should they? Of course. And that's all I got. That's all I got, man. But let me know in the comments below. DeAndre Hopkins, now a free agent. Do you think the Detroit Lions should bring him in? I am curious to hear what you have to say. But you guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.